All right, delving straight into what the headlines have for us, juicy headlines and stories there. I'll be starting with The Nation. The Nation newspaper. Banks face tough conditions in recapitalization drive. That's what is written boldly on the front page of The Nation. Banks face tough conditions in recapitalization drive with a rider. CBN targets strong banks capable of supporting government's $1 trillion GDP by 2030. And just above that, President backs NDLEA's Save Our Families advocacy campaign. Yesterday was the International Day Against Drug and Illicit trafficking or thereabout. And so we have been having, speeches and stories about drug prevention drive. Moving on, you have the speech that has, the vice president rather, the Kano State governor, and the chief of staff to Mr. President, who was the former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Mila, in a gathering. And there is this quote: "It is not a game of apportioning blame. It is a game of making this country work. And if Nigeria works, Africa will work." All right. You might want to know who said these. Tinubu not discriminating against North, says Shatima. Tinubu not discriminating against North, says Shatima. And maybe it's at that this gathering that we have this picture that that first quote was given. It is not a game of apportioning blame, rather. It is a game of making this country work. And if Nigeria works, Africa will work. Well, I want to say that looks like a motivation attack because the rest of Africa, they are moving, they are working, and they are not waiting for Nigeria. But it's true that if Nigeria will get it right, it will rub off on the continent as well. But the rest are not staying. Top strip, federal government moves to avert shutdown of varsities. They move quickly. Panel reached after Pali. Panels and panels, committees and committees upon committees. All right, to Oyo State. Oyo lawmakers at daggers drawn with Speaker. 17 members form group. Oyo lawmakers at daggers drawn with Speaker. 17 members form group. You can see the picture of the Speaker there, Honorable Ogundoyin. And you might want to say what's going on, what's happening. You know,
once peaceful
something is
on
cooking.
your assembly. I mean, if there's any assembly that I know that has been relatively peaceful, is Oyo State.
They're doing their business.
So we hope we are not going to see any more than what we are hearing now, because it won't really be a nice one for your state.
Okay, it won't be a nice one for any state. All right, I know your affiliation with Oyo State, so it's okay. But then when things like this happen, something is cooking, as they say.
Yeah.
Police planned data centers for 774 council headquarters. Wow, this sounds like a good news. Data center for 774 council headquarters. as nice as it sounds, who funds it? Easy, because when you even see the situation of the barracks, those things they call barracks, okay, police stations rather. Edo female lawmaker sent out of plenary for improper dressing. This was closer to comedy yesterday when I saw the news. The deputy majority leader also was sent out for what they call improper dressing. Economy attracted $24 billion forex inflows in Q1. CBN ends Form M verification. And bottom strip, National Assembly reconvenes today after recess. El Rufai sues Kaduna Assembly. All right, way to go. That's what many persons will say. Instead of throwing the society or the community or the state into political turmoil, better go the route of, the legal means. That will be all from the front page of The Nation. But what stands out for me, just like I said, Evelyn, is the sending out of a lawmaker for improper dressing.
I'd actually like to see the dress because the pictures I'm seeing, I'm not really. But if they have a dress code,
I think
rules,
they did, and they read it out.
Rules are rules.
You're not supposed to
come with your shades and all of that.
Shades.
Is there a reason why she's putting that on? Probably due to health conditions we might want to interrogate. But then rules are rules. If there are rules for dressing, then I think every member of the House should adhere strictly to it. From the Nation newspaper, we head on to the Punch newspaper this morning. And boldly written on the front page of the Punch newspaper, Dangote refinery. Crude supply crisis threatens oil investment. Operators warn FG. FG urged to deepen investors' confidence. Dangote allays fear over refinery fire. That's a writer there. FG urged to deepen investors' confidence, and Dangote allays fear over refinery fire. We got to hear yesterday that there was a fire incident at the refinery. It's good that the management of the company is coming out to allay the fears of people. Away from that, Tinubu backs NDLEA to end drug abuse, trafficking. Remember, yesterday was International Day against drug abuse and illicit trafficking. And the president is backing the agency saddled with our responsibility to end drug abuse and trafficking. National Assembly resumes plans 2023 budget implementation extension. How we killed commercial sex worker for ritual. Suspect confesses. That's a sad one. And PDP candidate receives APC defectors, vows to unseat Ayedatiwa. This is the season of aligning, realigning, wooing, and what have you. This is where the more the merrier, that statement of the more the merrier comes in, because politics is a game of numbers. So you have to woo so you get more numbers to your side. But of course, the game is on, and the game is the game. In Ondo and Edo states, they will be going to the polls later on in the year. Top corner, stress test on banks necessitated recapitalization, CBN. And government ASU meet to avert strike in varsities. Good thing they are meeting, and we hope that they reach an agreement and any industrial action is pended or even not going to see the light of day. FG banks begin talks on nationwide broadband rollout. And 423 billion naira theft. El Rufai sues Kaduna Assembly, challenges probe. This is also one state where the incumbent is kind of having issues with the predecessor. That will be all from the Punch newspaper.
Yeah, but in the Kaduna situation, the incumbent has said, it's about the law. It's about the condition of the states.
Femi, you and I know what these are normal.
No, I don't know. I don't live in Kaduna.
These are normal political talks. These are normal political talks.
The state is not moving well because of a huge debt burden, and so they had to ask questions. How did the state, arrive here?
Yeah.
And so the former governor was fingered, and he told him, "Come and answer questions."
Go and answer the questions.
It is what it is. All right. We move to the Daily Trust. The Daily Trust newspaper is next. What is there is quite saddening because it's terrible, and it seems these people concerned have been largely left to their lot, to their destiny.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Niger mining pit collapse. Over 30 still trapped. 3 weeks after, with these two sad riders. 4 mutilated bodies recovered in 2 days. 4 mutilated. Mutilated means mutilated. Bodies recovered in 2 days. An operation done manually. Victims' families. And was it last week, Evelyn? You remember? This is one state that, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? It was reported that the governor was on pilgrimage. The deputy governor was on pilgrimage. The Speaker of the House was on pilgrimage. And this is a state that has 30 people still trapped
under the,
because, due to one incident that happened. Nobody is saying it's a state that caused it. Maybe those that were even affected didn't go through the right process, but then there are still people residing. We don't know, maybe they are residents of the state. I mean, they are indigenous of the state.
It doesn't
but
matter.
in as much that thing happened in that state.
Yes.
3 weeks after, and then governor comes back, they are calling him Alhaji. The deputy comes back bearing all kind of names. This is not about religion, by the way. It's about responsibility of our leaders. Quickly, I remember almost 15 years ago, there was a similar situation that happened in China. And I remember I was monitoring 2 BBC then. And for almost 4 days or 5 days, you would think I was part of the people or had my relatives then. Every hour, details was being given about that situation. At the time, they passed camera, these tiny cameras to speak to them, to see to their situation. They found a way of getting air, through whatever means. I'm talking about 15, 16 years ago. Now this is 2024. Operations are done manually in Niger State. Ours is to just give this information. That is terrible. I say what it is. Now, nobody will fathom. You can't imagine, because you are not part of the family, the kind of trauma
they are going through at this
for the
time.
people that some don't even know the situation of their loved ones. Either they are alive or dead. Some are declared missing. They don't even know if they are there or not. And
it's a terrible thing. And this is where we ask, where is our humanity? If there are people trapped under this collapse,
3 weeks after,
you could get the governor, the deputy governor, and the speaker go on a holy pilgrimage while people are trapped under the collapse. I mean, where is your humanity?
Operations are being done manually. That means they are picking things with ants, with shovel, with...
In 2024.
Really?
In 2024.
This is sad. El-Rufai sues Kaduna Assembly over 432 billion naira probe report. Man mobbed for stealing pot of rice in FCT Council. A situation that sounds funny. But then I think is reminiscent of the times that we are in, although we are not encouraging stealing. Stealing is stealing. Either you have reasons to or you don't have reasons to. Stealing is stealing. But it speaks that a grown person will go and steal, a pot of rice. It speaks to something, and we all know what it is. Don't allow tribalism into your affairs. Sultan tells Nigerian army. Top strip, Nigeria borrowed 7.71 trillion naira in Q1 2024. DMO, 7.71 trillion naira. Okay, that's from the Dam Management Office. 6 students drowned in Kaduna River after exams. How again? This is sad. Kenya's president drops tax hike after deadly unrest. We spoke about earlier, but about these 3 students who have died again after exams, maybe having a cruise, to celebrate a successful, or so to speak, semester. Here we are again. And at this time, I think it would be something in the region of folly for anybody to do any voyage, any journey on river without necessary things. I think we should do better. This is not me blaming the victims, but let's just do better. Evelyn.
All right, from Daily Trust, we head on to Vanguard newspaper this morning, Thursday, June 27, 2024. Cholera, FG shopping for emergency vaccine with riders as Nigeria records 54 deaths, 1,579 cases in 32 states. This is from NCDC. And poor sanitation, contaminated water, reason for spread. Lagos State Governor Sanwo-Olu speaks and display product essential information. Lagos government directs stores. And away from that, protesters want declaration of emergency in Rivers as Fubara alleges protesters attempt to bomb hotel. Okay, away from that to 432 billion naira probe report. Ex-Governor El-Rufai drags Kaduna Assembly to court. Oshun Monarch, 4 others docked for alleged arson, robbery. And top corner, Forex, CBN discontinues price verification system as criteria for imports. Edo Guba or Jezua loses bid to disqualify Ighodalo will make youth leaders of today, not future. That is coming from the PDP Guba candidate, Asue Ighodalo. And insecurity, 2,600 killed, 50 communities record 135 attacks in Benue State. This statistics dropped by Amnesty International. And from pen to prophet, FG reaffirms commitment to free press. We hope they will walk the talk and allow our press to operate freely, because we know that the press is actually the eye of the people.
Right.
We are considered the fourth estate of the realm. So let us do our work freely without fear or favor. That will be all from Vanguard.
Yeah, and that is where we put the brakes. But before we go on that break, let's reverse a bit to that night, to the Daily Trust, Evelyn,
Yeah.
that says Nigeria borrowed 7.71 trillion naira in Q1 2024. And many people will say, to do what exactly? Q1 has to do with January to March, if I'm correct. Yeah. And so to achieve, that doesn't mean they will spend it within that period,
Yeah.
by the way. But what are the indices? Spending it on what? And with what we are hearing, it has been said by economists that borrowing is not the issue. What are you borrowing for?
Yeah.
What is the payment plan? What are the terms and agreements?
Yeah.
The terms and conditions, rather, of these payment plans. So that, and there was a news item I saw yesterday, although I was a bit sleepy, so I didn't really go through that. There is a court order obtained by China also to, seize some assets of Nigeria. I just hope I'm sleepy. Oh, it's because I'm sleepy. Maybe I will try and go through that today, so that we don't get to that issue. You remember the P and ID or PD and I situation? We don't go back to that situation. But really, this is Niger State issue. I couldn't just get my mind off it, because these are the people who come back and we say, we are working for you people. My people asked me to, when is second time, because Mr. Bago used to be a House of Reps member, a ranking one, before he became the governor. And these are the people, when it's time for second time, they will tell you, my people have asked me to come and serve them. Almost all politicians, it's their people that usually ask them to come and run for office. And the question is this what your people ask you to come and do? To jettison the state, all in the name of
going for a pilgrimage.
Yeah.
I think.
And this is a state that is almost overrun.
Yeah. I think Alhaji. Let me use the title now, because it's gone out.
How many times has it gone on pilgrimage?
I think Alhaji
Mohammed this one out.
Umaru Bago should actually be ashamed of what is happening in the States. This is 2024, and you have a situation like this happen, and the operations, the rescue operation is still being done manually, and you're not even giving an update of the situation.
Yeah.
Maybe a daily update, hourly update, whatever it is. The people, their families, their friends need to know what is going on, what the government is doing at the time, what the operations, how it is going, and all of that. I believe, Alhaji Bago should really be ashamed of what is going on in his state.
I think one of our guests asked last week to say, if he had sit this one out, what will happen? You can. We don't know for sure, but I can lay some kind of assurance on it to say this is not the first time he's going on pilgrimage
at all.
And he's not a newbie. He's not a newbie to governance, really. But maybe this is the first time he's been an executive governor. But then he has been at the House of Reps, for quite some time. In fact, he was part of the people that vied for speakership with Femi Gbajabiamila. For you to know that he's an high-ranking member of the legislature for a long time, and now he has become the governor, and this is happening. And the former governor, I remember, said it, that terrorism and banditry and that it's something that has spreaded in that particular state, and the vast amount of land in Niger State is not helping. That's a very huge state, a state that could almost consume in landmass the entire southeast. Is as big as that. And so you have this kind of state with criminals running around the place, and then this happened, And 3 weeks after, 30 still
bodies,
trapped,
30 people.
4 mutilated bodies brought out in 2 days. Operation done manually 2024.
It's shameful, Femi. It's very shameful. And that's why I said the governor should actually be ashamed of what is happening in a state.
In one swoop, governor, deputy, speaker.
I mean,
the entire leadership.
It speaks to how much we value human lives in this part of the world. And also it speaks to our humanity. You know, we go outside of the country and we strive for, you know, the whites to see us in a different light. We strive for them to see us as we are not below you, we're not beneath you. But when we are together in our own country, where we see ourselves as brothers and sisters, how really do we value ourselves? How really do we value our lives? This speaks to the fact that the governor really, does he value, the question, does he value,
and many governors, not just Bago,
value the people that brought him into office? And this is the right time for us as Nigerians and as individuals to start calling out our leaders when
That's
they
what we are doing
do
right now.
things that are wrong, because this really is shameful. This 2024, 30 people trapped under that pit, and you know, operations are still being done manually. It's a shame. 3 weeks after, Femi. 3 weeks, that's 21 days. 21 days after.
Even if it means you have to move things from abroad to just save these particular people, you can't. And you finally, before we take this break, I think it also speaks to the docility of Nigerians, our docility, to allow leaders to always get away with anything. You could be assured that if this guy is back, possibly he's back, or when he's coming back, people will still go to the airport and go and do ranka dede. I'm very sure of that. To go and say, Sugar Bank Kasa, as in, you are the real Oga, because that's what we do.
You have done well.
You have done well. Did you pray for us?
Did you pray for us?
Did you bring things for us?
I'd like to know if he actually went there to pray, so that the people underneath the pit will miraculously, you know, just
get out of the
come
place.
out and become one of those Avengers, and
it
come out
speaks
of
to
it.
our docility that we don't owe to question, and that was where we started with the Kenyan people. That maybe they are more sophisticated than us as a people in knowing our rights. It's not us calling for insurrection or protest, or necessary one, but I think the people should do better to say, in as much you have done this, you know, this is not right, and we call you to question, and we are holding you responsible. You are to take care of us. The welfare and the security of the people shall be the priority of any serious leader. That's the way it is. But then we keep asking the question for many persons like this particular leader, many leaders across board. We take this particular break, and when we come back, we speak to governance and issues in our land. Stay with us. It's the Morning Spring of Western Spring Television. We are beaming live on channel 190 on Start Times DTT, and also on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television, also on our Facebook page at Western Spring Television. We'll be back